Welcome to the Bald and Beardiful. I'm Chris.
And I'm Bryce.
I'm bald.
And I'm Beardiful. And welcome to what is this, week 14, episode 12. Um, how was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was good. I got
Not
to.
according to your score.
Well, that was only one day.
That was only one day. That was a day of reckoning in many ways for you. And in our next episode, people will find out why. But just for the sake of this episode, it was overall it could have been better, but this past week was pretty good. I mean, if off the topic of cover five, just Thanksgiving in general, you and I both traveled to different states. Even I went down to Virginia, saw some friends, had some food, didn't have to make or clean a thing. It was amazing. I did ask. I wasn't selfish. I did ask, but I was told to stop breaking things. So, what about you? What did you do?
Well, saw Dad in the morning, had breakfast with everybody, and then we went to the buyers for their large feast. Um, ate there, had two different types of turkey, some ham, uh, and then drove up to Vegas actually,
Nice.
which it stormed. Not gonna lie, got super sketchy driving up there. Like no visibility, using the lane lines only to be able to drive.
Oh, that is so sketch.
But I only added 30 minutes to my drive, so I made a good time.
That's not bad.
Nope. Vegas was fun though. Got to play some poker. I took second in a daily tournament at Harrah's.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a nice little payout. It's like a multi, like the way that their dailies work, because their poker that poker room isn't very big. It's like it's basically like a multi-table sit and go. Um,
I
so
wish I had a decent casino around here that would do just like a daily tournament or whatever.
the one casino that's like 45 minutes from you did small
Um,
tournaments.
they do. I guess when I think in small tournament, I'm thinking like the ones I saw in what's that other gambling town south of Vegas?
Laughlin?
Laughlin. Yeah, like they had one where it was literally like a single table of people where you came in, it was a decent payout and not a lot of people. I don't know, but at least like that one, it takes a while, and I don't know. I don't always have the patience.
Well, yeah, no, this one, like these run about 30 people, 30 to 40 people, with rebuys, right? Like, or I should say entries. It shouldn't be people, it's entries, right? So 30 to 40 entries with rebuys. Um, and they run it. Actually, I was impressed on how well they ran it. Like, I've definitely been to some larger casinos like in Arizona that don't run their tournaments quite as efficiently. Um, and I think I mean, for a multitude of reasons. Um, but yeah, like 30 people, 30, 40 people is small by comparison. I'm used to running the bigger tournaments at Talking Stick that are like three or 400 people, right?
Right.
So, but it was good actually. When I took second place, I was on the final table. I got down to like six people. I think we were down to six people. Um, I raised under the gun with tens, pocket tens. Guy jams over the top for not a whole lot more. Uh, in like not late position, but early middle position. Folds around to me, and it folded to him anyway. So it folds around to me. I call. He turns over ace six of spades.
Ooh.
Ace on the flop. Immediately.
Uh,
And so that brought me down to one big blind, which is my next hand, which is literally my next hand. And the small blind, who was another short stack, actually it would give me a little bit more than one big blind. It actually gave me one and a half big blinds is what it was. So I had a little bit more chips to put in, and it folded around to the small blind who let me walk, who just folded his hand. Like, okay, you're not like strategy wise he should have called with any two cards. It didn't matter with any two cards, right? And I knew that, like, I don't know why, but I felt like the table wasn't really paying attention too much. So in order to not show emotion or like any sort of reaction to the cards when I got into my small blind, I didn't even look at my cards. I just jammed all in.
All right.
Well, it's like just snap jam. Like didn't even think on it. Like I don't have to worry about giving off a tell because I have no tell to give off, right? Because I don't know anything. But I'm going all in. It's just the math on it, right? Like I'm not going to surrender the chips and the odds of me going. Like I want to be heads up. I don't want to be multi-way, right? And by that time, since it had folded around to me, and the guy in the big blind wasn't necessarily a short stack, but definitely like if he lost to me, I would take a good chunk. I still would take a decent chunk of his stack, right? Because he was under 10 big blinds altogether. So it's still a fair amount of chips, right? Because now I have about 2 big blinds total. Um, and so he ends up looking at his hand and he debates it. And I'm just like, there's nothing I can do about it, right? Like I'm all in. Like it's basically any 2 cards from that position. The math says it's basically any 2 cards, right? And he debates and he goes, you know what? It's just too marginal. And he folds. And I looked down at my hand to check it. Like, because I mean, I could have just tossed it. It wouldn't really matter. I looked down. I had 10-3 of clubs.
Nice.
So I get that one through. And then, so then I have a little bit more. So then I have 3 big blinds at that point. But that's actually a pretty significant stack because there was like one really deep stack and then everybody else was kind of in that like 5 to 10 big blind range. So like the fact that I have like 3 or 4 big blinds, like that's about half of someone's stack at least for the majority of the people at the table. And then I see like 2 hands later, I get King Jack of Hearts and guy limps. I jam all in. He snap calls me with ace 10 offsuit. And I spike a jack on the flop, and then I ran out clean. So that brought me back into contention, and then I just caught some run good after that. Like I had pocket kings against ace 10 and pocket jacks that held up, where I all but covered everybody. I covered one of the players, and then one of the guy with the ace 10 again was the same guy who called me against my king jack. He had me covered by like 2,000 in chips, and the blinds were 6,000, 12,000.
I think we've stalled long enough. We need to get into how bad you did.
Side notes and things. All right. So basically, like I ended up on the opposite side of every bad game again, really. And not by like and by no standard, like, was this like, oh yeah, like I was just kind of stretching my picks. Like these picks should not have gone this way. Like they could have very easily lost. I'm not saying that they couldn't have, but like the amount of negative points is pretty ridiculous, right?
The only games that you went positive are the same picks that I chose, which is hilarious. Chicago against Detroit. Chicago pulls out a victory, and they cover the spread, but just by 1. It's still a point.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tampa Bay against Jacksonville. We both thought was a good play. Jacksonville hasn't been doing too great, and Tampa Bay definitely had the power for it. They came over the top and got us both 18 points. But yeah, the rest of your you picked 2 of the Thanksgiving games. We both kind of ate it with the Jets. The Jets, who just came off a huge win on Oakland, they keep giving up wins to the worst teams in this league this season. First being the Dolphins, and now they give Cincinnati their win of the season, which I did say that if Cincinnati was going to get a win this season, it was going to be this game. I did say that on our last episode. But I was hoping that I was wrong, and I was not, getting us both negative 19.5 points.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to the Cowboys. Buffalo looked amazing in that game, though. Like it wasn't even competitive. It really wasn't. Josh Allen? It's Josh Allen, right? For the quarterback for Buffalo. He was just on fire the whole time. Truly disappointing game, but funny enough, the Cowboys are still number one in their division.
What does that say about the division?
Oh, the division is absolute trash. Between what we have the Cowboys, Philly, Washington, and the New York Giants, right? So at 6-6,
Oh, Philly is so unfreaking predictable. Oh my god.
yep. But at 6-6, the Cowboys are leading the division, and they own the tiebreaker over Philly because they beat Philly in Philly. I think they're in Dallas for the next game.
I'll be honest, the tiebreakers, I have no idea how they work. I get how each team goes to the playoffs by winning their division, and then the wild card comes best of the record in the AFC or NFC get the wild card. But what if the wild card positions are tied in their standings? Then you say it goes to whoever beat the
Well,
other in a head-to-head game.
no, not necessarily. Like so, interdivisional it does in wild card because wild card is across like it's all of the AFC or all of the NFC.
Right.
Wild card actually, I think the tiebreaker goes to preseason.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, I think it does.
We'll have to do a little bit of
Or
research on
something
that.
like that. It's something like that. I know preseason has something to do with setting tiebreakers, or maybe it has to do with if there's a tie for like home field. They use the preseason for home field advantage determination. Maybe that's it. That actually sounds more accurate to me.
Well, Cowboys aren't locked in for the playoffs with Philly just one game behind them. Who knows what's going to happen there?
I
But
mean, they
I
said
mean,
they can lose this week to Chicago, and as long as they beat Philly next week, they still go because they'll still lead the division at
so
that
we
point.
got they got this is week 14, so they got 3 weeks left of playing.
Hmm.
So yeah, Baltimore's pretty much locked in. Wow, yeah, Buffalo's doing really well. New England by no means have it locked away. Buffalo's got them by one game. They could still pull ahead. Houston and Tennessee are a point away from the top. Kansas City's
Tennis, Tennessee is like they're
they're
starting
playing like they want it,
to surge at the right time.
right? Kansas City and Oakland are 2 games apart. Kansas City on top there. We already talked about them. Green Bay and Minnesota are a game apart. So in that division, I like this division. I like this division just because honestly, it's because all the cities are right next to each other, and it made sense to me. You have Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, and Detroit. They're all around the Great Lakes there. That division makes sense. Instead of ones like Dallas, who's in there with Giants, Redskins, and Eagles. That, like, what happened there? And then you got Chargers, Denver, Raiders, and Chiefs. That's just spread across the West there. This one does. All right, this one the NFC West makes at least a little bit of sense. It just kind of goes down the coastline of Seahawks, 49ers, Rams, and Cardinals. Again, we got way off track. We still need to finish out these scores. Um, the playoffs are coming, and I'm looking forward to it. Our playoffs are coming too for fantasy. We got one more week left before that starts for us.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
hopefully I
I'm
can
in that one.
pull it out, and hopefully James Conner plays because that's like he lost losing him has been significant.
All right, so we talked Jets, Washington. I picked that game because I knew they would. Washington has a habit of keeping a close score, so being at -10, that was almost a guaranteed few points. But then they pulled out a victory. Woo! Love it. So happy because I needed them because New England somehow lost to Houston. Uh, I swear, New England is just been playing so many like um lower bar teams that when they finally face like a decent team, they don't know what to do.
Well, I honestly I think it their defense is still showing up for the most part. I think it's a lack of receivers, right? Sanu's been kind of injured still. Edelman's there, but he's really their only receiving threat. So it's pretty easy to double team and cover him, and their run game is okay. Like it's nothing to write home about, really. I think that's what's killing it, right? Like if you look at the Patriots of old, uh, they had receiving talent, right, of some sort that that like Brady ultimately made better, and then um, you know, and then like they as long as they were making catches, that's key right there, make catches. um and just overall they were able to dominate in that manner when Brady can extend the field. He just hasn't been able to really do that on a consistent basis, and that's really what's hurting them.
Last game is Indianapolis versus Tennessee. They faced before, and I think Indianapolis pulled out a win. But yeah, this is crunch time, and Tennessee knows how close they are uh, to the playoffs, and they're playing like they really want it now. So yeah, that is a really unfortunate side to be on. No, not as bad as the Jets one, but still. I mean, you had three. Oh my, yeah, 3 double-digit negative points is so bad.
Mm, yeah, just a little bit
I
more of
mean,
the same. Like, also, like I was really thinking about it. I was talking to Sam about this, my wife, right?
my wife.
And my wife, very nice, great success. Um, that like this season, because we're recording the podcast now, I'm having to make my picks earlier in the week. Like normally I wouldn't like last in previous seasons I probably wouldn't have made my picks until uh like Saturday or Sunday morning even,
Right.
and like done additional research, like check the weather report, like that kind of stuff. I'm not doing that, and I think that's what's ultimately like that's one of many issues that I have, right? I'm not saying
No,
that's my only issue.
it's definitely not
That's
the only issue. Seeing how Chicago and Dallas, you made those picks like the day prior.
well, yeah, that one. There's nothing there. Well, I that's
But
just Dallas screwing me over.
in the majority, I absolutely understand. But this week we ended with a positive 8.5 for myself, a negative 34.5 for you. Uh, love it. Definitely love it. All right, let's move on.
All right, getting into the picks. Ladies first.
I thought you were introducing yourself. I'm sorry. Um,
Boo.
Anyway, Baltimore against Buffalo. Buffalo's been doing well, even though Baltimore doesn't really. They still need a couple wins. I'm hoping that they'll still do well against Buffalo. The spread was pretty low, and they've been known to score high points. So I went Baltimore. Even though Detroit has been doing well, the spread's pretty big. I'm hoping since it's a division game, they'll play a little harder and at least keep it close. Pull a Washington Redskin. Jets in Miami. After Jets doing terribly against Cincinnati, Miami's been looking a little better. I think they could pull out a win there, especially with a gap like that, with a 5.5 gap like that. Seattle and Rams division game. Seattle's got the power to take over the Rams. I think that should be an easy win. Um, Philly and New York. New York's not a bad team. Did you hear they might be starting Eli?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I read they might be starting Eli, which I read after I made this pick. But yeah, I kind of went for the high spread, 8.5 points. Figured they're again division game. Hopefully it's close. Hopefully Giants can pull out a win and give me some points. It's a lot of hoping, a lot of miracle wishing right now. Yourself?
All right, looking at Atlanta in the hunt at home against Carolina. Carolina just fired their head coach. Normally, I would stay away from a game like that because every time like someone they fire their head coach, um, they play significantly better for some reason. Uh, but think Atlanta at home. They're definitely in the hunt for it. They have to come to play. So that's really what I'm looking at on that side of things. Then looking at Denver at Houston, right? Denver hasn't looked that great for most of the season, um, but they just came off a big dominating win off of the Chargers, right? And um, um, Houston has Tennessee upcoming the week after, and that's a huge divisional game for them. So I kind of think they could potentially be looking at, we can drop this game against Denver because it doesn't really hurt them in the grand scheme of things, and then really
Playing
focus on
the
Tennessee.
possibly playing the secondary.
Not necessarily the secondary, but like really thinking about, do we want our guys to be banged up against Tennessee in a week, right? So maybe play a little lighter, maybe not keep their foot on the gas as much, right? So
Gotcha.
looking at that, and then Tennessee at Oakland, I think Tennessee needs to keep that momentum. And I think for the inverse, right? They know that they're going to be playing Houston, but they need to keep that momentum alive, and they need to keep that hunger win. So I think that they're under the helm, of Tannehill there, they can go into the black hole and dominate in pretty good fashion.
I'll admit you took two of the ones I was considering, Atlanta and Tennessee. Wasn't sure what Carolina was going to do, and Oakland. Who knows with Oakland? But yeah, go on. Kansas City and New England. New England.
I don't 100% like this pick. I don't like teams going into Foxborough, but New England just has not been firing on all cylinders. Kansas City looking for some revenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
True. True.
you have Mahomes back. You have healthy Tyreek Hill, healthy Travis Kelsey. Their run game looks solid, and you know the Patriots have looked vulnerable. They are a beatable team, and multiple teams have proved it at this point. I think Casey can take that and go in there and take that win.
I would
Um,
agree.
all and hopefully in a dominating fashion, right?
Yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
That would be it. And then last, I took same as you. I took New York against Philly just because we don't know which Philly is going. A, you don't know which Philly is going to show up, and B, uh, New York seems to like to screw over whoever in the NFC East is like in the hunt. The one, like the team that potentially could overtake the other team for that top spot. New York likes to be that spoiler. They do it with the Cowboys all the time. The Cowboys will be fighting with Philly, right, for that number one spot, and like the Cowboys will need the divisional win to like solidify their top spot, and then New York will come out of nowhere and dominate, right?
Right.
Or not necessarily dominate, but upset, right? So I'm going off of that trend that they're looking at. That's what they're gonna be looking at doing. Um, yeah, it's in Philly, but they're not traveling that far really, and it's not like it's not a regular stop for them in their normal season, right? And if they do start Eli is very familiar
Well, I
with.
mean, keep in mind Detroit beat Philly, and Detroit's 3-8 right now.
So definitely a lot of upside, definitely a lot of points. If this was anything less than this, like if it was like even in that 7.5 range, I probably wouldn't have taken it. It's the fact that it's 8.5, almost. You know what I mean? Like it's starting to push that threshold where I'm just not confident they can cover, right?
Right.
Um, so I actually almost decided to just say fork it and just pick all the big spreads. I got real close. I had it all loaded up, and then I'm just like, no, I can't do that. That's not, I mean, it would be amazing if it worked, right? But
If
I
they
just
would
don't.
only do exactly what you wanted them to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because then I would have had, was it? I'd have Washington, Cincinnati, Denver, New York, Washington, Cincinnati, Denver, New York. Um, I can't remember what the other one would be. There's like one more that's like 8 points or something like that. That would have rounded out the 5 that I would have ended up picking. But yeah, the ultimate underdog cover
Mm-hmm.
would have been great. But nah, maybe I'll do that for like the last couple weeks of the overall season, right? Because we go through week 17
Yeah.
with cover 5. So maybe what we'll do is I'll for maybe the last 3 maybe weeks. What was it? 15, 16, and 17. I'll just take the big dog picks.
We'll see.
Maybe I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if that holds up. But let's I think we've covered it enough. Let's finish this out. We're gonna talk about the new side bet. Neither one of us took the Thursday night game, so Cowboys versus Chicago. I had the better week, so I get to set some terms. I still need a little help on a punishment. Did we decide on a punishment at all?
We haven't decided on terms yet either. So like,
All right, well, I'm gonna keep a similar theme to yours. The last bet was total number of rushing yards. I'm just gonna go yards total
for combined for both teams.
combined for both teams, yards total.
Okay.
And you get to pick the over under. I'll set the standard, and I think I'm gonna go total yards for that game 650.
650 total yards.
Yeah.
And I have to pick
Will
either.
it be over? Will it be under?
650, huh? Let's see here. Yeah, I'm thinking.
I can't finish that. I think we'll get charged for that. I can't. I hear the clicking. You doing a little bit of research there, buddy?
Of course. I'm not stupid.
Sure. Yeah. No.
Let's see here. You still there?
Yeah. Last we did total rushing yards for the Falcons and the Saints. Chris set the standard at 200 rushing yards as a total. I picked. Well, I mean, you can go back and you can answer. I picked the under. For those that don't want to go do it or go do the math, I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm going to wait until our next episode for you to figure out who won, so that way you have to come back and listen. The bet for that one was the loser had to do a 1-minute video reenactment of either a NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, or 98 Degree song. So loser is gonna have to do a bit of or is gonna have to bust a move to one to one of the songs, or to one of their many songs, and act out their video, which is gonna be a lot of fun. Well, fun to watch.
All right, I'm gonna go over.
Taking the over, more than 650.
Yep.
Definitely a good choice. It's depending on the punt game or how good the defenses are. It's going to be an interesting one. Do we think we have enough brain power to come up with a punishment?
Sure. What do you? You choose the punishment. You elect for the punishment.
You know what? I have a good one, and it's not even that bad, but I want to do it just because of the holidays. I think loser has to decorate his beard in like the glitter Christmas light. Like, he has to do something with his beard. Take a picture of it. It doesn't have to stay on, but you have to get a
Christmas
good
beard.
Yeah, do a Christmas beard, and we'll post it up.
Okay. Yeah,
You like it?
I'm good with that.
It's definitely a little lower than mild as far as punishment, but I think it'd be fun.
No, we can do that. That's definitely doable. Um, all right. Well, I think that just about does it for us, right?
Yeah, that sums it up for us. Do you want to take us out?
Sure. Until next week on the Bald and Beardiful. Like and subscribe. Smash that like button. Click on that notification bell. Email us at theballedandbeardiful@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook. Email us. Talk to us. Like, comment, anything. We're lonely. No, not really. But until next week.
Public service reminder: do not eat yellow snow. I repeat, do not eat yellow snow.